Does it concern you that he's going after American companies, not just as the head of Ford? I mean, something we've never seen in an American president before.
Well, we always see lots of opinions from whether it's politicians or others around businesses and the decisions that they take. And, and our job as a business is to make sure we're making the right decision for our business, for our shareholders, but also at the same time, we are a global multinational company. And we're very proud of that, but our home also is here in the United States. And it's really important that we're strong in the U.S. and that we invest in the U.S. And that's why we are the #1 manufacturer of automotive vehicles here in the U.S. And we employ more hourly automotive workers than any in the U.S. This will help build on that going forward.
You said on CNN this fall, one of the things you'd like to see from the administration is, as they review fuel economy standards that mean that all the cars have to get more and more miles per gallon, that you'd like to see those fuel economy standards more in line with market realities, more favorable to your business. What about the concern from some who might look at this and say, is this crony capitalism? They might get more favorable regulation on fuel economy standards because they're bringing jobs home.
Well, we have always been consistent on this issue. First and foremost, we are absolutely dedicated to improving the fuel economy of our vehicles, and we're a leader in many ways on that. And our point was around when we agreed to the midterm, the one national standard back in 2011 that set the fuel economy standards out to 2025. It was an unprecedented agreement, and as part of that agreement, there would be a midterm review in 2018, and we agreed that we would look at the assumptions back in 2011. A lot of those assumptions have changed, whether it's the price of a barrel of oil or a gallon of gas, a lot of changes in assumptions on adoption of new technologies, and we just wanted that to be a fact-based discussion in developing regulations.
So to those critics, you say?
To those critics, we say, first off, as a company, we are very dedicated to improving the fuel economy, but we just want it to be a fact-based discussion, and we want to make sure that we preserve vehicle affordability, customer choice, and American jobs.
Let's get into what the president-elect tweeted this morning. Not about Ford yet. Well, I'm sure a tweet is coming, but about your competitor, General Motors. He tweeted, General Motors is sending Mexican-made model of the Chevy Cruze to U.S. car dealers tax-free across the border. Make it in the USA or pay a big border tax. This on the same morning that you spoke to the president-elect, Vice President-elect, and Bill Ford spoke to the president-elect about Ford bringing jobs home to the United States. To some folks, it doesn't pass the smell test. Is that a coincidence?
I can't say what the president decides to tweet and when he decides to tweet it. We're just out here giving our announcements today of our investments here in the U.S. and of these great new electrified vehicles and our commitment to electrified vehicles.
Do you think overall it is good for the auto industry and American jobs for the president-elect to be so vocal about specific companies like this?
Well, I think overall it's important for all of our politicians to ensure that we have a healthy economy here in the United States and create a positive business environment to encourage those kind of investments. And I think overall that's positive for the economy, it's positive for the U.S., it's positive for all Americans. And then how that's implemented, that's where the work in front of the administration is in front of them. And our announcements today are really a vote of confidence around that.
Let's talk about tariffs, because he still has on the table, as far as we all know, this proposal to institute a 35% tax on any cars you guys or any of your competitors want to bring over the border and sell in the United States. How damaging would that be to your business? What would that really mean?
Well, we'd have to see ultimately how, if tariffs are enacted, what the extent of those tariffs would be. So we'd have to calculate what it means on our business.
What would 35% mean?
Well,
to the American people, for the average.
Well, it depends on the vehicle. It depends on the price of the vehicle. Obviously, the higher the price of the vehicle, the higher the tariffs. But overall, I mean, you have to understand, when you look at NAFTA, the production facilities and the supply chains are deeply integrated between Mexico, U.S., and Canada. And this integration supports a lot of American jobs.
So it would cost American jobs.
So in the end, we'd have to make sure that it's a fact-based discussion so that we can make sure that it creates a very, environment to help the economy here in the U.S.
It would cost American jobs.
Well, any tariffs, when you put tariffs on, there will be an impact.
Yeah. Let's talk about the jobs here. 700 new jobs are coming here. These workers are just about to find out that their plant's getting a whole lot bigger. A lot of these very good paying union jobs. The last time we saw, for example, President Reagan put a quota on Japanese car imports, it cost Americans about $1,000 more per vehicle. Are the vehicles that are going to be made going to cost more as a result of more of those jobs here?
For the jobs that we're putting here and the vehicles that we're producing?
Because you are putting more jobs here rather than Mexico.
Well, we're putting more jobs here because this is the right business decision for us. And when you think about what we're investing here in our Flat Rock, Michigan assembly plant, $700 million, 700 additional jobs, that's just direct jobs. There are 7 jobs in the community that are created for every hourly automotive job that we create.
Will it result in more expensive vehicles being sold in the United States, do you expect?
Well, we expect, our customers expect great value. Our job as a manufacturer and developer is to make sure that those products have the right value, but also at the same time earn a good return for the company. And the products that we will be putting here, and part of the $700 million, is a fully electric SUV that will get a range of at least 300 miles, which we think that will appeal to a good number of consumers. And we'll be producing our fully autonomous hybrid vehicle here in the 2021 timeframe.
So is the bottom line you don't know, or you don't expect it to cost more? The more jobs that are added here instead of Mexico, where labor costs are less?
Well, labor cost is just one part of the overall cost of a vehicle. There are many other factors in there, and as I said, our job is to make sure that when we come out with these products, they're compelling for consumers, not only just for the job that they do and how they look, but the value that they represent to the customer.
One thing that we saw with Carrier is the parent company, United Technologies, their CEO came out after the president-elect did this deal to save 800 jobs. And he did say, Mark, as you know, ultimately it's going to result in more automation, which is going to cost U.S. jobs. Do you expect that sort of overall with this, push and pull with the administration, between corporate America and the administration, that more and more things will get automated as a result and cost jobs?
Well, I can't speak to Carrier, I can only speak to Ford. And when we look at automation, we look at the business case around that in terms of how much more productivity we can get, et cetera. And I would just point out, for many, many years, over many decades, we have been increasing the productivity of our plants through not only the use of automation, but better training for our workers. And that's allowed us in the last 5 years to create 28,000 jobs here in the U.S. And it's allowed us to invest $12 billion here in the U.S. And that's good for our workers, that's good for the U.S. economy.